Hey guys, how's it going? Nick is here once again as always. However, this time I'm in Shenzhen, and today we're going to talk about opportunity cost.
How deep can we go?
So I came out to Shenzhen for one very specific reason. I was put in a group of a bunch of China YouTubers, and luckily so, there happened to be one YouTuber there who not only have I watched pretty much all his videos, even though he has endless amount of them because he's got 10 years of experience, but he's also known as the China's first YouTuber, and his name is Winston. He goes by YouTube handle Serpenza, which I will link down below. I recommend that you guys absolutely check out his channel. It's amazing in terms of anything and everything China, whereas I like to do more business, mindset and manufacturing focused things, and maybe a little bit of living in China. He covers China how it is over the past 10 years, so it was amazing. And as I got in touch with him, he actually invited me to come to Shenzhen for a visit, and so I did. I ended up meeting him in person. I gotta say, it was one of the best meetings so far that I've had in China. I really enjoyed our conversation. We talked about everything from bikes to travel to YouTube to living in China itself. And he definitely gave me a lot of great tips on, you know, kind of staying afloat here and some of the things that I haven't even thought about before. But what I specifically want to talk to you about is opportunity cost. Because as we were nearing, you know, kind of our little coffee meetup and we parted ways, I was thinking what got me to this point. And specifically, I was also thinking what got him to this point. Serpenza has a couple of videos of him leaving South Africa and sacrificing a lot to be here in China, doing YouTube. You know, it's taken a toll on him personally, but I was thinking about it more from a personal standpoint where, you know, the amount of things I have to sacrifice. And I gotta say, like, the further down this path I go, the easier it gets. But at the very beginning, when I was living in the fraternity and I had a certain lifestyle that I was accustomed to, which was, you know, just running a window cleaning company summer and fall, and then living off of that money throughout the year, being a student, you know, living very cheaply, kind of partying and having fun, and coming out of that, you know, comfort zone and really pushing myself to give up the fun and the excitement and the laziness, so to speak, giving that up to start Amazon and to really take a big risk. You know, in terms of monetary, but also, you know, time invested, because I invested about 5 to 6 months until I got my first product in, and it cost me about $10,000 or so, 10 to 12 Canadian, so that's about 8,000 at the time because Canadian dollar was so low. And I want to ask you, or more I guess I want to reflect on it and see if you agree or disagree with me, is that I heard this quote before, and I'm not sure who to really give credit to for this one, but in order to become who you want to become, you have to give up who you are right now. And I find that to be very true, because I would not be able to be here in China if I wasn't willing to give up the travel kind of digital nomad lifestyle. I wouldn't have the digital travel lifestyle of a digital nomad if I didn't give up certain leisures to risk it for the proverbial biscuit, which was my Amazon business. And then again, even further, I wouldn't have had the idea of starting Amazon if I didn't really put my ass on the line for about 5 to 6 solid months of starting a window cleaning company. And even further than that, before starting the window cleaning company, it was like probably 3 to 4 years of me just consuming information, talking big talk, but never really executing, but still building that mindset. You know, since I was probably like 17, 18 years old in high school, you know, a lot of it started with, I would probably attribute like a direct correlation to me learning how to be better with girls. And actually, you know, some people would call it pickup artists, but, you know, I consumed a lot of that knowledge. I've met up a lot of groups of guys who actually allowed me into their head of their years of experience, and also consuming certain resources such as books and online blogs and videos of becoming a better person, becoming a better guy that women would naturally find attractive. That directly has set me on a path of, you know, wanting to become better, not only as a person, but also in my business, in my health, in my relationships, whether with men or women, in my family life with my mom and dad. Put a lot of differences with me and my father aside to, you know, kind of get on the same page, get on the same team. And it was all these, you know, all these things that I had to give up along the way. It kind of constantly pushed myself towards something more. And I think the number one thing that I can really attribute that to is I've always listened to that voice in my head whenever I was going to school. And I went to university for 7 years, 2 different universities for my bachelor alone. I just didn't feel comfortable, and I ignored the voice inside my head that's saying, this is not right, this is not what I want to do. But because my parents were pushing me to do it, I kind of stayed in it. Also being a little bit lazy, you know, living in a fraternity, I wasn't willing to, you know, step away step out of that comfort zone and really push myself until it was later in like my 23, 24 years of age, when I was in my 7th year of university. I said enough is enough. And you know, I really committed to the window cleaning business, which was then Amazon business, which was then digital nomad lifestyle, which now led to me dreaming really, really big about the future trends of e-commerce and where everything's going and what kind of brand I want to build over the next 5 years, rather than just launching one product on Amazon. And so I want to ask you, what can you give up, or what are you willing to give up right now to even take a few steps closer to the life that you want to live? And I think that I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that a lot of people that watch, for example, Gary Vee or Tim Ferriss, or maybe even channels like this, where I talk about Amazon or e-commerce or selling things online, you know, I don't think everyone who's watching necessarily wants to become an entrepreneur or wants to launch, you know, a brand of products. I think it's more about the freedom of lifestyle, having that extra couple of grand a month coming in from not, you know, selling your hours per day, not, you know, putting out 8 hours of work, of difficult labor, getting paid 10 or 20 bucks an hour, you know, or having some leisure time along with kind of getting paid for what you do. I think that's the appeal. It's not, I think what I'm doing is not very much relatable, because I'm really taking it to a whole other level. Like, if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I'd be doing, to be honest with you. I've always wanted to create something with my hands. I wanted physical products that I wanted to create, and that's always kind of driven me. And I've always knew I would end up in some sort of business, and I just didn't know in which way. And now it's becoming a lot more clear now that I'm in China, and I've done 2.5 years of Amazon, and, you know, previous business before that. And the thing is, like, one lost word that not a lot of people seem to be using, that I learned back in university in my business introductory classes, are intrapreneur. It's the people who innovate and think differently and use their critical thinking to the advantage of the company that they're working for. And I think that's really worth thinking about. And I think this topic of opportunity cost really comes into play with that. Like, are you willing to give up the safety of your work or the safety of what your peers are thinking about you to step up and say, hey, I think what we're kind of doing is a little bit off, or I have a different opinion, or borderline, this is bullshit, we shouldn't be doing this, and we shouldn't be putting up with this, because that's a big risk to take. You're really risking your comfort, you're risking the steady salary, steady pay. I think that on a certain level, perceptually, it's easy to show up to a 9 to 5, pretend like you do work for 5 hours and do actual like 3 hours of work every day. I think it's soft and cushy and just to do what people tell you to do. But as an entrepreneur, if you word things the right way, if you approach situations the right way, you can become such an invaluable member of a company. Now I'm just now starting to hire people to help my Amazon stores, because I'm expanding to so many, pretty much in every Amazon, and also launching more new items. I need somebody to help me manage this stuff. I'm also hiring a YouTube editor who I now have. What's up, Leo? And you know, it comes down to really surrounding yourself as a founder of a company, surrounding yourself with people who can critique what you do and give you advice and tell you how better to improve it. And it's up to the owner to put aside his ego and to kind of satisfy, to give up use the opportunity cost and give up the ego and like, I know where I'm going, to listen to the people that work with him. And then as an entrepreneur, for people watching who have a job or who have a long-term position in the company that you have the ability to innovate in, it's kind of up to you as well to not only prove your worth, but also go beyond it. Show the people that hired you that they made the right decision by challenging the status quo, and not in a very violent way, or, you know, necessarily going out and, you know, stating like, hey, this, I think it's right and you're wrong. It's never about that. It's about the difference of opinions. The people that work for someone else, for another company, and just stay quiet and don't really embrace the company as part of their own and don't try to grow it, are really doing themselves a disservice. They're never pushing the comfort zone. They're never trying to learn anything new. And they're always keeping a hand's reach away from the company that they're working for. So I think that this concept of opportunity cost, like, what are you willing to give up to be where you are? I think it has to do with planning, with your life planning. Like, do you know where you're going? Do you know where you want to be in the next year? Like, is there a path that you're following, or are you just kind of showing up and waiting for somebody to tell you what to do? I bet that if you're just working a 9 to 5, maybe even like at a part-time job at a Starbucks, and you're just kind of showing up now, you don't really have a life plan, and that's okay. I started there too. But maybe it's time to get one. Maybe it's time to, you know, read the Taylor Pearson Anti-Fragile Life Report. Maybe it's time to visit Jordan Peterson's life planning exercise that he has online, you know, the self-authoring program. And I think These are the first steps that you need to start giving up your comfort, you know, like Gary Vee said, you know, it comes at the cost of Angry Birds or Netflix and chill, or, you know, a bar on a Friday night. Like, maybe it's time to give that up in order to become something more. Because if you're not feeling complacent right now with what you're doing, if you're not feeling good about what you're doing, then you have to change that. Otherwise, nothing will change and you will literally stay stagnant, really disliking where you are, not giving anything up. I know this is kind of out of the left field type of video, but this is really how I felt coming here to Shenzhen and really taking in the city and taking what's in behind me, this huge electronics market, and being here and really thinking like, man, in my 26 years of age, like I got here, you know, I'm here and I still feel like everything's just starting. Even though I've been doing Amazon for 2 years now, I feel like I'm just starting and I'm having such big dreams, and I want people to not limit themselves, and I want you guys who are watching me and who follow my journey, not limit yourself with your way of thinking. Maybe I'm 10 steps ahead of you, but you need to still take that first step to keep moving on your journey. So I encourage you to really question where you are right now and what you're willing to give up in your current life right now in order to become the person that you want to be in the future. Not only for yourself, but for your family and your close friends who look up to you and look up to your behavior, because they always notice, you know, if you start changing, maybe they'll start changing for the better too. And maybe the best way to change people around you is to change for the better yourself. You know, that, I really believe that. I am really seeing some of my friends following in the path that I'm walking down, and it really gives me fuel to keep going. And maybe in the future, you know, maybe you're young like myself and you don't think about these things, but maybe you're building your life up for a legacy that your children will follow one day. You know, maybe thinking about it in that frame of perspective will kind of give you a little bit of fuel to change your life and to do something about it. And that's only if you want to change your life. If you want to just hang out, work 9 to 5, make 40 to 50K a year, and you're completely cool with that, then that's completely okay. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm talking directly to people who are not comfortable, and there's a reason. There's a reason why you subscribe to my channel. There's a reason why you watch my videos. It's because you want information on Amazon FBA, and maybe you're having fun. Maybe you're vicariously living through me. But why not join me? Why not live this life with me? You know, come to China, come say hi, come meet me. You know, you don't have to write yourself off thinking that you can't do this. Of course you can. If I can, anyone can. So I hope you guys really give this some consideration. Opportunity cost. I want to specifically give a shout out to Serpenza for welcoming me in Shenzhen. I would not be standing here if it wasn't for him telling me to come to this market, and it's a very beautiful site. And I hope you guys really consider this. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.